Okay, I think this one would be a good example of how my build performs, because it gives me +1 here, and then this brings it up to 80, and then I have the boss thing, which will bring bosses up to 82. So I think that should be fine, because in my Atlas thing, so in my Atlas I took these two things, which adds +1 to the boss difficulty. So in total it should be 82 for bosses, and then 80 for the whole zone, which is just like one more than tier 15. But it has a breach, and it has, and my map is like all kinds of messed up. It has increased monster cast speed, attack speed, and movement speed by 30%. So I feel like it'll be a good example of like how the build performs. It's not the most expensive build either. Well, I want to say the staff is probably the most expensive thing. The staff is, it cost me 2 divine, but I think you can get it for around 1 divine now, maybe cheaper. I'll have to look into that. But honestly, for me, I thought it was worth it just because of the stats it provides. But like you can see, like it's not really difficult. Everything just goes boom. Like that time I didn't even hit them, they hit me, and my wind dancer popped and it blew everything up. So it's just kind of crazy. Since I got this build ready, I think I've died a total of, I want to say 1 time. I'm currently level 89. And the time I died was, I was pushing Delirium and I pushed it way too far, and those things get really tanky, and then I just died. And I was like, okay, lesson learned. Oh, tornado. That thing could shred me. There's so many monsters here. Oh, it's a mini boss. Is this worth it? I could try like messing around with that. Oh, there's the breach. Guess I'll go upwards. Oh shit, that gave me 3 fragments in one go. Oh, the monsters are decreasing. Let me see if I can get to the other side quick enough. There we go, maybe? I think I might close too soon because my movement speed isn't the fastest. Actually, it's working, it's working, it's working. Oh, I'm out of mana? What? That rarely happens. I guess I've been using too much. Is this a boss? What is this? Oh, he's dead. Oh my god, it closed. I think I was too slow. Damn, look at all those rewards. I love doing breaches because it's basically like a freaking dopamine rush every time, because everything is just dropping like crazy. And everything's also like exploding like crazy. Probably don't need that skill gem. Actually, it's level 18, that's not too bad.
The dreamer provides.
Okay, so the only thing left on this map is the boss. Like the road boss, or like the map boss. Like the big one, not the normal one. But yeah, it's really not a struggle. Everything just blows up. Oh, I think this one might be the boss. Oh, it's this guy. Oh, I gotta be careful. I might die. I got 4k on the shields. Oh my god. It's so hard to aim the bell sometimes. There we go. Like a lot of time it just pats weird and it doesn't aim the bell. Oh my god, dude, just aim the bell. Oh my god. It worked out, it worked out. Didn't get anything crazy good, which is a bit unfortunate. The map isn't finished yet, but that kind of, I guess, demonstrates the build's good enough to where you have an idea of what you're doing, or like how it plays out. Does this give me more experience? Ooh. Oh, I wish I took that before the breach. Imagine, I probably would have leveled up, maybe. I wish the maps would like show where the bosses are at the get-go. But I think it makes you clear like 60 to 70% of the map, and then it starts showing where the bosses are, and it's kind of annoying. Especially like after you do a lot of maps, it just gets so tedious and repetitive that it's like, why? Oh, there we go. It's finally showing it on the map. He didn't even drop anything good. Alright, well, that's the map finished. I have all my resistances capped off. This is including the negative modifier that you get, I think. So if I take off my things, right, with my gear off, you start off with -40. And then with everything on, it brings up to beyond 75, so I'm capped off. Chaos, it doesn't matter because I'm chaos inoculated, which is why my life is blue and I have 1 HP. So my life is technically all my shields. And then my armor is 57. I don't know exactly how this works. Technically, I have only 24 armor, but supposedly I'm taking 57% reduced physical damage. Evasion is at 64. And then I don't have any block chance. 27 strength, 161 dex, 106 intelligence, level 89 so far. And the reason I have so much armor reduction or damage reduction is because of this node right here, Protect Me from Harm, where you lose 40% evasion rating, but that gets converted into armor. And it's not too bad, even though it looks like a lot, like you're losing 40%, you're also gaining 20% right here. So it kind of balances out, it's not too bad. So this thing right here gives you a lot of spirit. My chest has 975 evasion and 381 shields. For every 6 points in shields, you get 1 spirit, and for every 15 points in evasion, you get 1 spirit. And that brings me up to 228 total. And then I have this thing for more innate freeze damage, so I can proc frost really quickly, because I'm using Tempest Flurry, which is electric by default. This node and I think this node are the only two that I've seen that give you base freeze damage, and they come in real handy. I went down this path to get more energy shields, and then I looped into this path to get more critical chance. This thing I picked up for more elemental damage. I'm always chilling and I'm always shocking, so my elemental damage goes up by 30 and then 30 here. This one I have for more magnitude. I could technically, I don't know if I really need this node. I haven't tested it out. I could probably spec out of this and put those points into this to get 2 more power charges, which might be better. I'll have to test that out. I went into this for more critical, this for more energy shields, this for more shock and lightning and critical and all that stuff, this for more raw damage. It gives me, I think the way it's working is because I'm at 1 HP, it counts me as both low and full on life. So I'm getting the 50% and the 30%. At least I think that's how it's working. And then I went into this stuff for more crits. This is for getting power charges. So I'm running Combat Frenzy as one of my spirit things, where if you freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy, you get a frenzy charge. And then I have it with Profusion, where 50% of the time, instead of getting 1, I get 2 charges straight up. Those then get converted into power charges because of this node right here. And then I've grabbed this thing so I can recover my shields using my life flask, because I went into Chaos Inoculation, which makes me immune to chaos damage, which is anything that's like purple, poison, bleed, any like purple explodey effects on the ground, they get nullified because of this thing. And if I don't take this thing, The only way my shields would recover is naturally, where like they start regenerating. I lose that, but I'm able to regen them using my life flask, which I think is very important. I went into this thing for way more critical hit chance, and then I've gone into this node for quarterstaff stuff, more freeze buildup and everything. This thing I grabbed for more attack speed. So you get 1% attack speed for every 15 dexterity. And right now my character is at 161 dexterity, so it gives me a lot more attack speed. And then I went into this thing because when I'm affected by a herald, either ice or lightning, I'm getting 50% increased cold damage and 50% increased lightning damage. And I've gone into this thing for more critical hit chance. But yeah, that's mostly it. I've started dumping points into this tree. I want to get this so I can have more energy shield. Without these two nodes, I think I was sitting at around 2400. And with these two, I went up to 2700. I'm hoping by the time I reach this, which it gives me 1 max energy per 12 evasion, I'm hoping this goes up to like 3400 at the very least. But yeah, I think you can probably spec out of this. I'm not too sure. I would have to test it out. Actually, maybe not, because the freeze buildup is so nice. Maybe. I have no idea. I'll have to test it. I don't know the numbers on any of this. I just use it and see what feels good. And as long as it feels good, it's good in my eyes. Skill wise, I'm running Tempest Flurry as my basic attack, which is like this move right here. This is mostly just used for bosses. Sometimes if I'm lazy and I don't feel like casting Stormwave to clear packs, I just hold this and I just move around the map like this. And it usually shatters everything. Pretty much everything in this build is chaining with Charge Staff. So the way this works is it gives you base lightning damage, but I have Cold Infusion, which gives it 25% more cold damage, and Glaciation, which gives it more freeze buildup, and then Electrocute, which gives it electrocution. So this thing by itself is both freezing and electrocuting. Tempest Spell is for bosses as well. I'm running Heft to just give it raw damage, like without this, it's 4800, and then it goes up. I have Overabundance. This allows me to spam bells. Without this, you put one bell down, and you can't charge up the bell until the first one disappears. But with this thing added, once the bell is down, even though it's on the field, you can charge up the second bell, put it down, the first one disappears, charge up another one, put it down. So you have back-to-back bells with this. And then I have this, which gives me rage when I'm using the bell. So this is just like building up raw damage with the bell. It's also really nice. Stormwave is what I've been doing to add clear the maps. So the way it works is you start off the map or any place with Stormwave. This by itself is actually freezing because it has a bit of cold damage. So like right now it has 1300 to 2700 cold damage, and that's probably thanks to my passive tree where I'm getting 10% from here and 5% from here. And with those things, it can usually proc a freeze. If not, it just like shatters them because of this ring right here. Basically what this ring does is when you chill an enemy, even though they're not frozen, you can still shatter them. And that adds to like everything going boom boom. They may not freeze, but they can still shatter. And once they shatter, it's like a chain reaction almost. Because then that pairs up into Herald of Ice and everything just goes boom. So like to explain it simply, Stormwave combines with Charge Staff. These two then combine with this Sapphire Ring, and they make everything go boom thanks to Herald of Ice and Thunder, and pretty much the whole screen just gets deleted. It's a combination of Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice, the ring, Charge Staff, and Stormwave. For Stormwave, I'm running Primal Armaments, which gives it raw damage, so it goes up to 18,000. I have Mobility. I prefer this. I just like having less movement speed penalty when using it. You could probably replace this if you want, but like I said, I like the feel of this better, so I'm using this. So with Longshot, if you're hitting an enemy that's 3.5 meters or above, you're dealing more attack damage. Most of the time, you are further away than 3.5 meters, so it's like always applying, I guess. I bought this one for 1 Exalt because it was max qualityed. Combat Frenzy is there to generate power charges. Anytime you, like I said, freeze, electrocute, or pin, you get a frenzy charge, and because of the passive on the tree, Resonance, it converts that frenzy charge into a power charge. And then I have Ghost Dance for survivability. I'm honestly debating on replacing Ghost Dance with Blink just to have that extra mobility to get out of places. I feel like it might be useful for doing breaches. Like I felt like I was a little bit slow because I had to go from one slot to the next. But I'm still debating that. I have the additional 30 Spirit and then 30 from this. That would be 60 total, but I'll have to test that out. But I also feel like this is really good for survivability because anytime you take a hit, you'll gain 5% of your evasion, which for me right now, I'm sitting at 5,600 evasion. So if I have 3 stacks and I take a hit, I'll gain 750 shield back straight up. But also I feel like most of the time it's not needed because of Grim Feast, because Grim Feast, anytime you kill an enemy, there's a 50% chance it spawns a little white thing that you can pick up, and it gives you 60 energy shield. So for the most part, I'm sitting at around 4,000 to 5,000 shield anyways. So realistically, I don't know if Ghost Dance is worth it. It might be good for bosses, but I'm gonna have to test it more. And then for Ghost Dance, I'm running fast forward so that you gain charges much faster, and persistence so that it lasts for a longer time. And then I have Wind Dancer as well for more survivability. So you might have noticed once or twice I got hit. I got stunned for like a second, but the enemy that attacked me blew up or they got frozen. It's because of Wind Dancer, where if you take a hit, a melee hit, it pushes back the enemy, but it also does like a little bit of damage. So this usually ends up freezing them, or if it's like smaller mobs, they'll just blow up the whole screen. I have it with Bind, Maim, and Pin. On top of that, you gain a stack every 1.4 seconds, and it goes up to 3 stacks, and you get 18% evasion per stack. This is also why my evasion is pretty high, thanks to Ghost Dance, or sorry, thanks to Wind Dancer. And then the last two are Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice. For Herald of Thunder, I'm running Clarity. I guess I never noticed it, or I was too lazy, but realistically, yeah, that's like another free socket to put something in there. I'm also running Lightning Mastery for +1 and Ice Bite to get ice damage when this kills stuff. For Herald of Ice, I'm running Innervate, so when this kills stuff, which it usually is doing all the time, like the boom boom, I'm gaining 35% lightning damage. And then I have Cold Mastery for another level to this, and then Magnified Effect so that the AoEs are much larger. The reason I have so many sockets available is thanks to this ring right here, which gives me +1 additional skill sockets. Without that extra skill sockets, I would have to like give up one of these things, and I feel like all of these are so nice. I guess the thing you could sacrifice is Ghost Dance. Gear-wise, I think the most expensive piece in all of this is the staff. I bought it for 2 divine, which I think it might have been overpriced. I might have gotten ripped off, but I think it's fine. Try and check like the prices in exalts before you buy stuff in divine, because a lot of time the market site lists 1 divine as the cheapest option, but it's actually like 30 exalts or 40 exalts. So be careful with that. Like the marketplace tries to rip you off sometimes. The main thing I went for here is the crit hit chance, which it has 1.4%. So without that, right now I'm sitting at 46. And if I take it off, if I put this thing on, my crit drops to 36. So it's basically giving me 10% crit hit chance. And if you can get one which has like maybe 3% crit hit chance or 4%, that's like 10% every level. So if this was at like 4%, that would be giving me 40% crit hit chance just from the staff, which is crazy. Another thing I think that's really important for the build is raw flat damage. So this one has raw physical, raw ice, and raw lightning. So if you go into your passive tree, you'll notice these things where it gives me like elemental damage, or this one just gives me increased damage, but this one here gives me 50% increased cold damage. That cold damage, you need to have some flat number to amplify it, right? Like for instance, my staff right now is giving me 52 to 100 flat cold damage, and that's then being amplified by this. So pretty much all these things, like to scale them, like even this thing, it gives you 24% increased attack damage. You need like some flat value to scale it, which is why I think flat numbers are really important to have as part of your equipment. So for instance, like on gloves, like this one isn't the best example, but you can get flat physical damage added to your attacks. You can also get like flat cold damage, flat lightning damage. I went for this piece because it has 30% increased rarity of items found, but because of that, like the price also goes up. This was like I think around 15 exalts, and this headpiece was also around 15 to 20 exalts, mainly because they have that increased rarity of items found on top of the resistances, which is why they're expensive right now. You could forego the rarity of items found altogether and pick these up for like around 5, maybe 10 exalts. It's a lot cheaper. The chest piece was also I think around 15 exalts, and it's mainly because of how much evasion and energy shield it's providing me. This is also stats, just resistances, max mana if I can. Like I tried to get pieces mainly with resistances and then max mana if I could. And the reason for that is because of this ring right here. This was around 20 exalts at the time I bought it. It gives you, so this thing solves your mana regeneration problem. I ran into it once, but that was just like me spamming non-stop the whole time. But usually you don't run into that except for maybe boss fights. And the other effect is it takes your max mana and it gives you 25% of that as energy shields. So right now I'm at 2700, but if I take this thing off, I drop down to 1788, right? So this is giving me quite a bit of shields. My shields could be a lot higher. I think equipment wise, you probably want gloves with only shields. So try to go for like 200 or 300 flat shield on this. Also like 200, 300 flat shield on this. This one, yeah, probably also just go for flat energy shield. And then for your chest piece, go with like evasion and energy shield. Unless you're getting like a chest piece that has like 2000 evasion, then you could probably forego the energy shield on that. Stat wise, you want to prioritize elemental resistances number 1. Number 2 would be maximum mana. And then number 3, if you can afford it, maybe go for rarity of items found. But if you don't care about that and you just want more damage, then prioritize stuff like flat added damage, like physical, cold, lightning. If you can, attack speed, I think you can get those on your gloves as well. And yeah, I think these are the only 2 uniques that I have. This was, like I said, 20 exalts. Well, this I found by myself, just playing the game. But I think this you can get for around 10 exalts. At least that's what I saw on the marketplace a few days ago. So 20, 10, these are probably expensive. This one, you could probably get for around 1 divine, maybe less. I'm not too sure. Everything else was like I said, don't go for rarity if you can't afford it. You could probably get these pieces for like 5-10 exalts each, which I know it's kind of expensive, but like for end game, I feel like it's affordable by most people. Also, like, pay attention to your currency. Like flat divine orb drops, that's not gonna happen all that often unless you're like super end game, super optimized. Most of your currency is going to be stuff that's dropping on the map, and it's not always going to be exalts, right? So one of these goes for 2 exalts. So if you do see a chaos orb, that's basically 2 exalts. If you see a Val orb, that's like 1/5 of an exalt. If you see an orb of alchemy, that's like 1/3 of an exalt. When you're mapping or you're doing anything, don't look at all these other drops as like being other stuff. They're all currency. Everything gets converted into exalts, which then gets converted into divine orbs. So this is where I started. I just went in a straight line until I hit a citadel, which was right here. And then I looked to the left and right. So there was another one right down here. And I looked up top, but there was nothing here. So I just moved on. I came back here, went straight in a line. And then I hit another citadel right here. And then I looked to the left, I found another one. I looked to the right, there was nothing. So I moved on, I went straight again. And then I hit another citadel right here. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been doing like Minecraft branch mining, if that makes sense. Go straight until you hit a citadel, look to the left and right, and then go back straight, left and right, back straight, left and right. The time you look left and right is once you find the citadel. So keep going straight until you hit a citadel, then look left and right. And I've basically found all 3. So what I think I'll do is I'll use the first 2 as like for testing to see if I can actually take it down. I basically have 2 chances to just fail them straight up and see if my build is okay for that. Before I tackle like the top 3 up here, because they have 1 of each, so I think I should be fine there. But yeah, for the most part, I think the build is solid. Everything's been going good. No complaints. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, or if you're more experienced in PoE 2, or if you have better ideas to improve the build, let me know. Because this is my like first game ever, like PoE related, and I've just been going off of feeling and gut instinct and like just experimenting.